We just released a new song called 22, This Might Only Be a Phase, and one of the first things you're encouraged to do as an independent artist is to figure out the story of the song. You need this so you can sell its message to people like bloggers, radio presenters, and playlists and stuff like that. Here's the thing, I would be willing to bet a decent sum of money that most art is actually created because it just sounds cool in the moment. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not all art needs to have a grander purpose to fulfill. The problem is when a lot of indie artists get to this point in marketing their song and they slap on a story that has no real emotional connection or backing. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, when we wrote 22, This Might Only Be a Phase, it was just because it sounded cool. But something happens sometimes where it's trying to express something that you actually really care about, but you don't know it until you go back and look at it maybe a year or 2 years or 5 years later. And that is exactly what happened with this song.
We started writing this track in September 2022, and I like to think of it as a love letter to a time where things were starting to feel genuinely good for the first time in a really, really long time. Now, I need to express to you just how rare these feelings of niceness were, because I was pretty much in a constant state of burnout for years. I believe the word burnout is very overused and people don't quite understand the gravity of what burnout really is. But lucky for me, I got to experience it firsthand back in July. I had no energy to do anything. Physically, I would be exhausted even just walking to the kitchen to get myself a glass of water. And to be honest though, my mental state was far, far worse. I had to take 3 months off of music, not just the band, music. I couldn't listen to it. Andy couldn't talk to me about it. I couldn't sing. I couldn't write. Nothing. And if Andy actually approached me and wanted to say anything in the realm of music, I would have so much fear and so much panic boiling inside me that I would have a breakdown. It got to the point where I would experience a mini breakdown minimum once a week, and that's just not healthy. It wasn't until I caught the flu and was bedridden for 2 weeks that I was forced to stop and realized that I just couldn't live like this anymore and that I really needed professional help. So I started therapy, and my God, paying someone to listen to your problems is amazing. I had weekly sessions and I immediately started to feel a sense of safety and security. Because of that, it led to feelings that I'd never really experienced before, which were contentment and peace. They were so foreign that whenever I would feel them, I would take hold of them as tight as I could and be so afraid to let go that I would just ruin the moment that I was feeling those positive emotions. The more uncomfortable things that I faced in therapy, the more space I was given to have positive emotions come into my life. I wanted to get to a point where I understood that these feelings of happiness can't always stay, but that they were coming often enough for me to feel safe, that they weren't just going to disappear all over again. And that's the message of 22, This Might Only Be a Phase. It's a time where you should soak up every moment and to live in the present and to not be afraid that a moment is about to end. It's a reminder that there's still good things in your life, even when you feel really overwhelmed or really insecure or sad. There's still something good to hold on to.
Okay. Why should anyone care about this? Just like Calliope, I've spent a lot of my life depressed, cynical, jaded, negative, and there hasn't really been a lot of space for good times in my life. So this message really resonates with me as well, and it goes double because I feel like that right now, when I talk to friends, family, when I open up YouTube, social media, there's so much negativity and so much bad feelings in the world right now. And I think everybody just deserves a little bit of space to feel good and happy. So in a world where anger, negativity, sadness rule our attention, I think the responsibility falls on each of us to carve out more space in our daily lives so we can let more positivity and more calm, more peace in. At this stage, we've talked a lot about how we feel, but talk is just talk. And we want to share with you some ways that we're trying to live this message and create more space in our lives right now in the present moment. Meditation has already been spoken about ad nauseum, and to be honest with you, I think it's for really good reason, because any person that I've ever encountered, including myself, who's stayed disciplined and focused with meditation for any period of time has reported nothing but good benefits. So this is really step number one for me. Meditate first thing in the day. 15 to 20 minutes before doing anything else. I find that doing it first really sets me up to be more calm, more present throughout the whole day. So when I encounter the inevitable stresses of daily life, I've got more space between me and it doesn't affect me as much. This is really important because, to be honest, I'm quite blind to my own emotional world. And so when I encounter things that are stressful, I start to reach for more things like my phone or YouTube or whatever else. And then all the space gets taken up. So step number one for me really is to meditate.
A common trait that runs in my family, especially the women in my family, is trying to make other people happy. That never works out well for the person who's trying to make other people happy. So one of the best tools to use for this, for me personally, has been setting up boundaries. Boundaries are very difficult to set up, especially when it's with people that you're very close with, because they don't like the boundaries. They don't want them to exist. There are some very negative people in my life, and one of them is my beautiful partner, Andy. We do everything together. We work together, we play together, we write music together, we get coffees together, everything. That's a lot of time spent with one person. But when he's in a mood and he wants to talk about the economy for like the 10th time, I cannot handle it. It needs to stop happening. So with Andy, I have 2 boundaries in place. The first one is if I'm feeling okay and I'm able to emotionally regulate myself, I will allow Andy 10 to max 15 minutes to express to me what he's feeling in that moment. That way he gets all of that negativity out and he gets to feel a bit better, but it doesn't get to the point where it starts to become venting. The second boundary I have is when I'm in a state where I cannot deal. So what I do is I actually don't let those conversations happen. I cut them off from the get-go. They do not exist that day. I have to be really firm and really blunt, and it can come across as quite rude sometimes, but it's super necessary. Even though he doesn't like it, it has made our relationship so much better because it means that I am able to have so much more mental space and mental clarity to be present for him and for other people around me. The only piece of advice that I have when it comes to setting up boundaries is that you cannot, and I will repeat, you cannot compromise on them, because the common saying is if you give an inch, they take a mile. And my God, I've had to literally go through that firsthand.
Imagine if I was sitting here and I told you every morning for breakfast I smash an entire chocolate fudge cake and a whole can of whipped cream. You'd probably be like, oi, you need to eat better food. You need to put better food into your body so your body can heal and grow and you don't get diabetes and all that sort of good stuff. That's bad input in terms of food. I don't think it's any different when it comes to what information you put in. If you're sitting there consuming heaps of YouTube videos about how the economy is so that our generation will never ever be able to buy a house, you're probably going to feel pretty bad about your life after the point. So you can make a really good argument to say that if you just didn't consume that information, whether or not that is a realistic representation of the situation, you're probably going to feel better afterwards. And that's not to say that there isn't a lot of really bad things out there in the world right now. There is so much negativity. But if I sit here and ask myself the question, can I actually do anything about it? The answer is no. So what's the point in spending my time, my energy, and my life worrying about it constantly and letting it affect my day-to-day life? How I'm trying to do this is unfortunately just blocking stuff. Like, I don't have access to YouTube on my phone, and I only have access to YouTube on my computer after 10 p.m. and on Sundays. Oh, I wish I had more control over it, but that's how I'm personally doing it.
I've been in therapy for over a year now, and I genuinely didn't know that you could live a life with such emotional freedom. I used to be so miserable that I would disassociate for years at a time. I actually don't remember anything about my high school experience, for example. When I tried therapy in the past, I was younger and I wasn't really emotionally available to be super vulnerable with my therapists, and I also didn't really gel with them very much. I just wanted someone to tell me what to do and to have all my problems fixed within a couple of sessions. That's just not doable. Now with therapy, I am a lot more vulnerable, I'm a lot more patient, because I am aware that healing takes time, and it takes a lot of time and patience and hard work. I allow myself to be as vulnerable as I possibly can be so I can see and feel that pain and actually process it without it continuing on in my life. And quite frankly, you have to process it because unprocessed trauma just lives within you and is stuck within you, and it can carry on generationally. One of the best bits of advice I can give you is to really make sure that when you find a therapist, you connect with them really well, because otherwise you're not going to want to actually go to those sessions and work with them. You want to make sure you feel safe with them. Therapy has just really changed my life, and I have so much gratitude towards my therapist. I honestly couldn't recommend therapy enough.
That's really what the whole song is about. It's about clearing negativity, creating some more space to allow the good things to come back in. And then when those good things do come back in, don't worry about it because you're gonna make them scared and they'll go away. If you've connected at any point with the message of this song, or you just need a slice of feel good right now, consider giving our new song 22 This Might Only Be a Phase a listen wherever you get your music. Give it a like, add it to a playlist. You have no idea how much it helps us. Link is down below. Go listen to it, come back, let us know in the comments what you really think of the song, and we love you.
Hey!